Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another episode of The Wolf Among Us. And we had a little bit of a pretty much game-breaking bug last episode when we tried to start this chapter travel, and it was just saying this choice is blank, this choice is blank, this choice is blank. Completely unacceptable. But I think I should be able to fix it just by rewinding to this chapter. It probably would still be bugged if I just click continue, but I think just rewinding should work, hopefully. Otherwise I may end up having to play the whole game or going back another chapter. Anyways, let us continue and hope this works. Cross your fingers. What's the point of only having an OK warning? You had to hit, I suppose, B to go back. Alright, well this is nice. It's gonna put us in a different save file. That's a nice feature.
I don't care who killed the prostitutes. If Crane was helping himself to the community coffers, it means his hand was in my pocket. And you just let him go!
I don't know what you heard, but it didn't happen like that.
Are you denying the facts?
She's denying me the chance to get a word in. Now, Miss White,
Sheriff Bigby has returned.
Ah, there's the old wrecking bowl himself.
Bigby, where have you been?
I'm not finished here, Miss White.
You will have to wait. Just one moment, please.
Look what I found.
Seems your dog wants a biscuit.
I'm not in the mood. And you've got a lot to answer for.
Oh, really?
Buffkin, get this piece in the mirror right away.
With pleasure, Miss White.
Finally, things are swinging back in the right direction. Good work, Bigby. You've been gone all day. What did you uncover? I thought you were going to report back to me. I mean, it's fine. So what else did you find out?
Oops.
All right.
Sheriff, I could use your assistance. Would you join me at the mirror?
Wouldn't it be funny if she was the crooked man?
Don't go far, Sheriff. I'd like to have a few words of my own with you.
Unbelievable. Pompous ass.
Why'd you put the hurt on Flycatcher? Were you hiding something down at the Tweedles? Or was it just for fun?
He worked for them, didn't he? I couldn't be sure that he wasn't involved, and I didn't want him interfering. I was simply endeavoring to make the search a speedy one. Surely you, of all people, can't fault me for getting overzealous in the process.
I don't buy it. I have more important things to deal with right now. You can be sure that we're gonna have a long fucking talk about this when I'm done.
I do so enjoy our talks. I'll wait with bated breath.
I don't understand. This piece just doesn't want to join the rest. Do you have any idea why?
Got me.
Interesting.
Well, where did you find it? What has it gone through since being separated from the rest? Shattering is a very traumatic experience, you know. So this process can be a little touchy. It helps that I have a good working relationship with the mirror. And I don't mind speaking in rhyme. So, can you think of anything?
Had a front row seat to a pretty gnarly brawl at the Lucky Pond. When I found it, it was still in Crane's coat. Last person I saw with Crane or his coat was that psycho Bloody Mary. Maybe she had some...
Ah, yes, Miss White was asking about her. That explains it. You know who and the mirror have a very unhappy history with each other. How would you like it if she tried to use you as a doorway?
I think I already know the feeling.
Well, I think I know how to proceed now. It will just take a little extra coaxing, that's all. Thank you for your help. It could be a while, Sheriff. I'll find you when it's ready. Besides which, he might not want to come out with you watching.
Oh, he doesn't like being spied on.
If you ask me, you're everything that's wrong with Fabletown.
Is it fixed? Did you ask about the crooked man?
Buffkin's still working on it. He said it might be a while.
If you're so self-reliant, what do you want from the business office so bad?
What I want is my business.
I can't take those two right now. We're trying to catch a murderer, and they're over there bickering about bureaucracy. We're at war. Don't they realize that?
At war? Come on, this is how bad
Need some
government
help over
starts.
there?
Yeah, thanks. Go talk to Toad. But just so you know, we can't pay him. He really needs to go to the farm, you know. So just break the news and be done with it, okay?
No budge on that bloody glamour. I only came in to see
Toad, come here.
I thought I made myself very clear.
I see how it is. Passed off to an underling, eh? Why am I not surprised? Well, you did cause what damage brings me in here, so maybe it's for the best. Just need a little bit of dosh to cover it. I tried talking to her about it, but it's like chatting up a brick wall, it is. Now, I'm sure you've got your own agenda, Sheriff, but I've taken a real wallet because of you, and you can't deny that.
Before we get into any of that, what do you know about the Crooked Man?
Don't try to change a subject on me. I need a little bit of that walking around money, you know? My car, total, the gaping maw in my wall. Any of us sound familiar? I'm not looking for a handout, just what's right. I need it, Bigby.
I
Here,
did really
Crane
break
won't
his
be
thing.
getting any use out of this. Will that do?
Crane's money, eh? Well, I suppose that means it belongs to me as much as anybody. Thank you, Sheriff.
Use it to get glamored, Toad. You got the money now, so I won't be so lenient if I catch you again. And the farm is always on the table.
But of course.
Vitally important that he does.
I think that was probably a good move.
Bluebeard, you want to talk? Now's your chance.
I've just made my donation funding this office, so direct your questions to Miss White.
Well, at least he's not trying to get rid of me.
He's not?
For now. Did you take care of Toad? I mean, I saw the way he left. I know it may not seem that important right now, but glamours are the law for a very good reason. You know that as well as anyone.
Don't worry. I did the right thing.
Are you sure? Because he left looking pretty happy. Fine, we'll deal with it later. I know I should be asking how it got like this, but I just keep wondering why it happened. To Faith and Lily. You've seen his world. Do you have any idea why he'd want them dead? I don't know if the Crooked Man killed them with his own hand, or if it was one of his goons.
I think it's
But
about
someone did.
control.
What would make a person do that? What could those girls have done?
If there's one thing I've figured out, it's that the Crooked Man is all about control. It's what he does with the loans at the pawn shop, the magic he peddles, chains, ribbons. Maybe Faith and Lily weren't doing what they were told. Or maybe they just tried to leave.
Sheriff, Miss White! I believe the mirror is repaired.
I have to say I have been better. But thanks for putting me back together.
I'm sorry, I have to know. Mirror, mirror, we're glad you weren't slain. Now please show us that sick creep Crane.
He's probably still waking
want
up
to
a
know.
little.
Yeah, I want to see where he's ended up, too.
You will get on that plane to Paris, and you will wait for the day the Crooked Man needs you. Until then, not a peep. Otherwise, I get to deal with you my way. So please, please disobey. Wait a minute. Someone's watching.
What just happened?
We pointed you in the wrong direction and looked at Bloody Mary's reflection.
Oh, her. That explains the sting. I'd rather not have to feel the pain she brings.
That's creepy.
So, let's not do that again, okay?
Looks like we'll have to track him down later.
You're right. We need to focus on the immediate threat, and that's the Crooked Man. Bigby, we don't have a lot of time.
Are you having trouble with the rhyme, Sheriff?
Mirror, mirror, no time to pout. So, where does Crooked Man hang out? I don't recognize the door, but That's the Crooked Man symbol on it.
Hold on.
It does
Door.
move.
It moves.
Yeah, Jersey mentioned that.
Wait a minute. I know that door.
That's Central Park. I don't know when it's gonna move again, but I'm gonna get there before it does.
Bigby, wait. When you get the Crooked Man, make sure you bring him back alive. He has to stand trial. We can't just dispense street justice. I know that emotions can run high, and you have your reasons to handle this a certain way, but we have to make a commitment to working within the law.
I'll catch him and bring him back here, alive. Then we can clean him and cook him together.
Good. I have enough to worry about here while I prepare the case against him. So
Are
I'm
they
going
really
to trust
gonna
you to
eat him?
handle this properly.
I don't doubt
That
that
is,
they might
if
actually
you think you're
eat
ready.
it.
Of course I'm ready.
Eat him.
I got no other choice.
What law, though? I've only seen the sheriff as the law, really. I don't think there really are, like, higher authorities and judges or other sheriffs even. I think it's just him, so I think when you are a sheriff and you are the highest authority, the thing you probably would do is just kill him
That's it,
immediately,
all right.
save time. Every door gives you the opportunity to kick the door down, and I haven't done it once. It seems kind of silly. Why would you try to kick down the door immediately instead of just starting off with seeing if it opens?
Tim, what the hell are you doing here?
Good evening, Sheriff. I'm here to take you to the boss. Thanks, by the way, for leaving off Tiny Tim. You'd think I'd have outgrown that centuries ago.
I'm not gonna shake this guy's hand.
I have to admit, when they asked me to watch the door, I wasn't sure what to expect when you came through that portal. But I get it. You're not here on a social call.
What is this place? Or where is it? I know I'm not in Central Park anymore.
I'm not sure. I've only ever come in through one of the portals. I don't think you can get in from the actual street. But you can't blame him for wanting to make it hard to find. I'm supposed to bring you right on in, so if you'll come this way. Look, this is the one thing I have to do. Please don't make this hard on me. I don't want to get in trouble. Will you just follow me?
Fine, lead on.
That was pretty unexpected.
Thanks for understanding. This is all I'm here to do, and I don't want to mess it up. I know I'm probably the last person you'd expect to be a guard, or an escort for that matter. I was a little surprised myself when they asked me to do it. I thought it was a joke, actually.
Tim, how can you be working here? You know who this guy is, don't you?
He's not as bad as you think.
This is
He
weird.
doesn't treat me like some broken little kid. I think he gets what it's like. He gave me a job, and I'm lucky to have it. This is the only option I've got. Just keep that in mind, maybe? Because if you and the boss go up against each other, the rest of Fabletown is gonna get caught in the middle. And if you're here, it can't be good. So I hope you two can come to an understanding.
I can find the door myself. You should just get the hell out of here. Things are gonna get ugly in a minute.
Leave? I told you, I have to do this.
Hey, you've been warned. Stick around, and you're a part of this, just like anyone else.
A lot of us depend on him. Some of us never get to the front of the line at the business office. But he's there. We need you, but we need him too. What we don't
Yeah.
need is a war.
This is
Hey, Sheriff, hold up. I gotta go in with you. Can't you just wait up, Sheriff? Thanks.
not how to do a society.
Am I some kind of a fucking joke to you? What did I tell you, eh? Stop laughing at me.
Oh yeah? Mate,
I ain't scared.
Who's back there?
Tell me who the fuck is back there.
You needn't worry.
I don't exactly
He'll come
know.
around.
I just mind the door.
Like Crane before
The
him.
boss is there.
I'm sure he will prove
I know
himself
that
quite
much.
handy to have in my pocket. Either he's smart enough to see this is for the best, or dim enough to do as he's told. I say he'd be
Okay.
killed, skinned, and made into a
If
rug
I-
for me to wipe my shoes on.
Bloody hell!
This fucking guy.
It's pretty much everybody.
I was wondering when you'd turn up.
I'm sorry, sir. He wouldn't let
It's
me.
all right, Tim. I shouldn't have expected the sheriff to give you respect enough to do your job. But you did fine. You can go now. You see, everyone in Fabletown has a role to fill. You just have to pay attention to what they need to help them find it. Why don't you have a seat, Sheriff? We have a great deal to discuss.
Alright, let's talk. This is a talking game. Talking seems like a smart move.
All right.
Plus,
you
I'm
got me
outnumbered.
here. Let's talk.
Oh, and that's gonna be probably the end, isn't it?
I've heard stories about you. In the old days, how you picked off those men one by one. Oh, how they screamed. The wolf is coming. And they would wait, hiding anywhere they could squeeze their pathetic, shivering corpses. Some would just drop to their knees where they stood, close their eyes, and wait for death. And you'd give it to them. I wish I could have seen it. Oh well.
So, player choices. Did me and 85.5% of players decide Colin should not go to the farm? Me and 63.8% of players did not try to remove the ribbon, which I of course figured out it was magical, so I knew not to. But I had to, as the character, as the wolf, ask her about it so that the character was up as much as the player knew, which is always a weird thing in playing games. When the player has figured something out, but the dialogue of the main character hasn't caught up to that point. So it makes the player feel smart, but then you're kind of dragging the character you're playing as along for the ride. Me and 63.2% of people went to the cut above first. Would it have changed anything if we had gone to the I think more than likely if we had gone to the pawn store first, we wouldn't have gotten the mirror piece until after, or we would have gone to the cut above anyways. I have a hard time thinking that would actually not happen. Now I've given all the money. I've given a big bunch of money to Toad, so hopefully that helps him out, and he can start going on the straight and narrow. I doubt he will. Everybody, besides just a crooked man, everybody of these fables are pretty crooked, trying to survive in this terrible city, which I think is a great metaphor for these early 1990s New York, which is where the setting is that even in 2015, where it's gotten slightly better, New York City is really, really expensive to live in, and it's really, really hard to make a living. And it really makes no sense why all these fables are in New York. If they had just gotten up and moved to some place like Ohio, Kentucky, one of those flyover states in the middle of the country where land is real cheap and it's much easier to make a living. You could have a much better farm. You could have people walking around on some kind of commune without having to wear glamours. You could potentially even say that it's some kind of movie theater thing. So if people see people dressed up, it's just like, oh, of course they're dressed up and they're recording a movie. But yeah, staying in New York is ridiculous. It's ridiculous for regular humans. It's even more ridiculous for these fable people. So we're gonna wrap this up on the 5th episode, because that's the last episode. Could they have done 5 different investigations for 5 episodes? Yes, they could have, and that is really where you could get into like LA Noire, which would be a good contrast game to this, because there are a lot more than the one investigation we're doing here, in like murder and things that you investigate in LA Noire. And I think if they had done that and tried to stretch out their episodes maybe a little bit longer and had some more things, that would be definitely a different way for Telltale games to go. It seems they like to do seasons, and well, that doesn't seem, they do. They like to do seasons, and in one season you get one story, but then they like to chop up the seasons into 5 episodes, which aren't really episodes. I don't consider an episode because the story didn't wrap up at the end of the episode. It didn't even. I'll give an exception to some episodes if they're going to be a 2-part episode, but I would never give exceptions to a TV show that did a 5-part episodes, 5 episodes all telling the same story, and they didn't wrap up anything in the first 4. And that's exactly what's happening in these games, is in the first 4 episodes, nothing is really getting wrapped up. And it's a little irritating. It's the whole DLC problem. It's DLC and pre-ordering wrapped together in creating about the worst situations you could do, making your games episodically. It would be much better if they just took more time to release a game and finish the game by itself. So we got some new Fabletown things. I guess I insulted Tiny Tim by not letting him open the door for me, but I was afraid he was going to activate some kind of magical trap. That I didn't want to touch the handles either. That's why I pushed that button. And a lot of decision in that little thing. So I missed a couple more Book of Fables things, which means I won't have those achievements. I probably will end up going back and playing this game again, which will be the first Telltale game in which I've ever actually done that. There's certainly reason if you want to see the slight different endings, and I did replay the last chapter of season 2 of The Walking Dead, but I didn't play the whole game again. It takes too long. It says I have a Book of Fables unlocked, but I don't see it. It says new, and then there isn't anything labeled new. So, let's see. Let's see if we can just go through them all and get that to stop saying new. This is societally, it's a mistake. You can't say. This is kind of the argument criminals always try to make, is that you need crime. It makes things cheaper. It helps the people that the regular government can't help. And no, absolutely not. That doesn't make any sense. When you get to higher levels, you might make the argument that the governments exempt themselves from doing crimes that other people wouldn't do. For example, lots of people say that taxing people is just robbing people, but because they're the government, they have the authority to do it, and it is a somewhat valid argument. And executing people, criminals, is just murdering people. So yes, but that doesn't mean the solution to these inherent flaws that should be addressed is to add a criminal boss, a crime boss, and undermine it and have more violent things happen. If the Crooked Man really wanted to help his fellow Fables, he wouldn't be doing it this way. He would be a philanthropist. He wouldn't be using prostitution and slave labor and black markets. No, he is definitely a bad guy, but he's gonna, like a lot of bad guys, he's gonna try and convince us to turn our head the other way, and that he really is needed for society. Anyways, so episode 5, Cry Wolf. With this scene, it kind of looks like I'm just gonna turn into the wolf again and start killing people, which I don't know. Maybe that is the solution here. You kind of wonder about the whole Fable society thing, is if they just don't die, which in a society would be a nightmare. They also don't seem to really have kids, because you'd think Beauty and the Beast would have had a kid by now if they've been married for centuries. That I think they can't. But if they don't really die, you start to wonder, yeah, maybe the real solution here is you do have to get rid of the Fables. Just throw them all down the witching well, because there's, I mean, we know they can be murdered, but unless you slowly get rid of the people, the amount of resources that you need to bring in is going to be a lot forever, and they're struggling, and I don't know why they're really struggling. Almost all of them can, in a glamour, all of them can take human form. They are, most of the heroes in story tales are at least clever. So why can't they, like, go to school, get a job, get a degree? Is it just straight up they can't get them identification? That seems ridiculous. If they can make glamours, why can't they get them driver's license or things? It would explain why he's never driving himself anywhere, but then in New York you wouldn't drive yourself anywhere anyways, but a cop should. Police drive themselves everywhere. And they're living in the woodlands, so they bought an entire building. We've seen at least 3 buildings that they've bought. So why can't these people get regular jobs? Again, it's New York, and that's part of the problem. But they can go to Paris, obviously. We saw that Crane was getting sent to Paris, so why can't they go where the money is? Why do they have to stay together? Why do they have to stay near? It seems silly. Anyways, I guess that's going to be this episode. It was kind of short, but that's fine. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it and make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.